Now, let me ask you this question. What is the real age to have kids? What age do you think is the best age to have kids? Welcome to episode 4 of Life in Your 30s. And in today's topic, we'll be talking about having kids in your 30s. Yes, this is a very well talked about topic, and I'm ready to dive into it with you. Let me ask you this question. What is the real age to have kids? What age do you think is the best age to have kids? Now, everybody would have a different answer. Some people might say it's best to have kids when you're a teenager because let's get it straight. A lot of females start menstruating since they were 11, 12, 13 years old. So, if you started menstruating from that younger age, that means your body is at a state where it can reproduce, right? So, if the creator made us from a young age to start menstruating, our body start feeling um, getting mature, that means you can technically have kids, right? For boys around that age, they also start feeling that sense of maturity too, right? So if a little boy in their teenage state has sperm that can impregnate another younger girl in their age group, that means they both can have kids. But are they ready for kids at that age? So some people might say, as a teenager, it's better because people start getting matured or kids start getting mature. And I say kids because a 13-year-old is a kid. A 13-year-old, in my opinion, is not ready to have a child because I don't feel like their mind is developed. Even though their body is developed in a way to bring that child, I don't feel like their mindset is ready to become a parent. But as I was saying, a lot of people, even at age 13, 14, or even age 15, they have kids, right? They had kids, and at that young age, more than likely their parents would be the one to take care of that child and help them and show them what to do, right? But a lot of people might say when you're a teenager, it's best to have kids in your early teens. So maybe from 15, 16 to 19. Some people would say it's better to have kids when you're in your early 20s because once your kid becomes a teenager, then you're still in your 30s and you know you can still grow with your teen. Another a lot of people also might say that it's best to have kids when you're in your 30s because you're more mature or you already been through certain life lessons, so now you are more capable, maybe financially, or you know you have things going on for you in your 30s. Then it's now time to have kids. Some other people might say they want to enjoy their entire life before they start having kids. So they wait until they're in their 40s or even in their 50s to have kids. I say all that to say there's really not a right age to have kids. Rushing into parenthood just because of society's expectation can lead to many regrets. And who wants to have a kid and say, oh, I regret having this kid? Nobody wants that. Or nobody would want to hear their parents say that about them, you know? We have to remember that having a child is a life changing decision, and it is okay to take your time to make that decision. Whether the decision is going to be financially, emotionally, or even mentally. You know what I mean? Because as I said, if you're a young kid, I don't feel like you're mentally ready to have to be a parent as a 13-year-old, right? So it also comes with your mentality. It also comes with what you have experienced in life for you to make that decision. I know that a lot of people got pregnant because they were not expecting it. They just got pregnant, they say accidentally, but I don't think any pregnant is accidental because once you have sex without protection, then obviously it's a possibility that a kid can come. So I don't feel like accidental pregnancy is a thing. I know a lot of people say it, but you got pregnant accidentally? I don't know about that. Maybe you were on birth control and then you're like, oh, I was on birth control. I don't know how I got pregnant. But at the end of the day, once you have sex, unprotected sex, person ejaculate inside of you, there's a possibility whether you're on birth control or not. So I don't believe in the accidental thing. That's my opinion, as I said. A lot of men, I know some of you guys have 10, 15, 8 kids, and all of that. It's not about the amount of kids that you can have, it's about the quality, right? Because if you have 10 kids and you can't give those 10 kids your quality time and spend the time to educate them as a parent, does that is that worth it? Is that worth it if you have 10 kids just because you can come and boast to say that you have 10 kids, but you have 10 kids, but do they really know you as a parent? You have 10 kids, but does that child know that you genuinely love them as your parent, as their parent? A lot of things to consider when having kids. What really matters most about parenting or having kids is you just have to be in that frame of mind to give that child the support that they need when they come on this earth. I know there's not a perfect time to have kids because a lot of people say that they're waiting for them to be more financially stable, which is good because why would you want to bring a child on this earth when you can't support them financially? That doesn't make sense. I grew up poor. I grew up poor. When I say poor, I mean the rain is falling on the roof and the water is leaking through the roof onto us inside the so called house that we have. I grew up poor in terms of we didn't have a toilet to do number two. We had to put it in a bag and fling it in the bush. We used to go to school without lunch money. We used to just go to school and depend on our friends to give us something to eat because our parents had so many kids and they don't really have the money financially to take care of all of us. So that $1 that they have has to split between five, six, 7 kids, and then one child is lacking and another child, or sometimes they might put one child over the other one because they just don't have the means financially to support all the kids, right? So with my childhood being like that, I wouldn't now want my child to be in that situation where, oh my gosh, my child wants a shoe to go to school and I cannot afford it. I believe that if you're a parent, you should be responsible for your kids. A lot of people are pushing you to have kids, but guess what is going to happen? When you listen to those people, have kids when you know you're not ready, whether it be financially, emotionally, or mentally. When you know you're not ready, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have that child, that family member will be around for the baby shower, and guess what, you have to make all the preparation for the baby shower. That same family member comes to your baby shower, they don't even bring a gift, a socks, a shirt, a box of diapers, a box of wipe. They don't bring anything to the baby shower, they just come to eat food, right? That same person, when your kid is born, like when you bring your child to this world, that same person that was influencing you to have kids, they never give you anything. And I realized that most of the people who influence people to have kids, you'd never see them. They don't come around and say, oh, here, I have $5. You can put this towards your child food. You have to remember that as a parent, you can't take peer pressure and let people influence you and peer pressure you into having kids because at the end of the day, when you have that kid, that's going to be your responsibility. And I guarantee you that you will never see that person lending a helping hand to that child that they influence you to bring. So you can't allow people to force you into things that you know you're not ready for. A lot of people might disagree with me, but to be honest, you have to know when you are ready. A lot of people say there's no right timing, and I can agree with that. There's no right timing because really, if you're waiting for yourself to be financially stable, man, you might not even be as financially stable as you think that you want to be, right? And then you're wasting your time, and then you get old, and by the time you're in menopause as female, and then you can't even have kids by then, right? No, it just depends on you. You can't let people bully you and manipulate your mind to have kids when you know in yourself that you're not ready. I know there are some scientific facts about fertility, right? But I feel like the fear around being infertile is very much exaggerated. I have seen people in their 30s and 40s or even 50s have kids, and those kids are very healthy, right? Right now, I have a friend, she's in her 40s and she just had a baby. The baby is like maybe 2 years old now, or one and a half, or somewhere there. Perfect. I know one of my friends' dad just had is a son a few years ago, and he's in his 50s. Now, when it comes to fertility, it it's like it depends on whether now if you're a male or a female. Because by the time a female hit around maybe 45, 50, 60, she start hitting menopause. So for females, the time is a little bit shorter for us, right? But for male, male, their sperm can last for a very long time. Even men in their 60s and 70s can still get somebody pregnant. But then a woman in her 60s and 70s might not be able to get pregnant herself. You know what I mean? So that's why there's a lot of stigma attached to females, because they once a female start getting older, men feel like they're what would I say now? Men feel like their value is being dropped the older you get as a female, right? And because people always say that now, some females get insecure and they feel like, oh my gosh, I'm getting old because by the time I hit menopause, I won't be able to have kids anymore. That fear around, oh, I'm getting old. So from a female's perspective, it's a little bit different from a male perspective in regards to like fertility and stuff like that. Like, say for instance, you're not financially ready. In your mind, you feel like you're not financially ready. I feel like you're never going to be financially ready, because having a kid is always going to take money, and even when they are 30 years old, you're still going to be responsible for them, because they're always going to look at mommy and daddy for help. Now, sadly, I don't have my mom and dad. I lost them when from a younger age. So for me, I don't have mommy and daddy to look to. So I have to look to myself, right? But you have to remember that when you have a kid, you can't have enough money to sustain them for the rest of their life. Because money come and money goes. So if it's a financial thing, if you're in like dire financial crisis, and you feel like, yo, this is not the time, then that's you. But I feel like I just want to encourage you, because like, you will never have enough money to raise a kid. That's just point blank. So that's why a lot of people say, when you people, if you're waiting for financial freedom, it might not come the way you want it, but it will come somewhat. And I believe that once you have a roof over your head, a stable income, I feel like if that's your only problem, then go for it. You know what I mean? But like, if you are not emotionally and mentally stable, you might have the money, but your emotions and your mind is not there. It can be very bad for that child. You know what I mean? So, like, for example, if you're not mentally ready, right? Somebody influence you, you have the child, then guess what? That child, you bring that child into this world, and then you just hate the child for no reason. That's why you see some weird videos of some things that people do to their children. You're looking like, wow, how can a mother do that to her kid? Or a lot of men, they try to touch their little daughters and their little sons, and you're looking like, how can a father touch their own kid? You know why? Because they're not mentally ready for that, right? So there's a lot of things attached to having kids. There's a lot of things attached to having kids. So people need to leave the 30-year-olds alone. Let people decide on what they want. Stop jumping on a female because you feel like she's 40 and she doesn't have any kids. You know what I mean? Like, what if she's not ready? What if her mental state is not ready? You can't just judge a book by the cover, because everybody have their own life. Everybody have something going on in their life. So you can't just judge a person and say you're getting old as your reason to say why they don't have kids. You know what I mean? Not everybody is mentally ready to even be parents, right? So you can't listen to society and think that, oh, because you're at an age, you're ready. No, a lot of people in their 30s are kids. They have such a baby mindset. You try to reason with them and they're not getting it. So not everybody um, is mentally ready. Some guys are in their 30s, they feel like they were just born. They're like, hey, this is my prime time. I don't want any kids to tie me down. And then also too, we have to think about it from a female perspective, because majority of the times the kid end up getting stuck with the mother most of the time. So like, it's mostly the pressure on the mothers, because we have to bring the child for 9 months. We go through that body change. We go through that emotional change. The men, yes, men are there for support. I mean, the good men that actually stay with their partner and, help them through the journey. I'm not talking about the deadbeat and the sperm donors who are just there to impregnate with different females and pretend like, oh, they're the top man because they have many kids with many women. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about the real dads who are there 24/7 with their partner to help her through her pregnancy. At the end of the day, females go through most of the trauma when it comes to childbearing. So we are the ones that people should shed more light on, right? Because we go through so much, our body changes, our mind change. Like, what, you look so young, fresh and green, and then as soon as you have a kid, as a female, you just look so old. You start gaining weight, you start having stretch marks, and then men now look at you like, oh, she's old, let me go for a 20-year-old girl. Come on, you can't do that. Having kids is not a one size fit all type of thing. You just have to know when you are ready. And as I said, it's not always the perfect, picture perfect moment. You might not get the picture perfect moment that you're looking for, but as soon as you feel like, you know what, yeah, I can give and take, go for it. Some people want kids and some people just don't want kids. Now, if a person make the decision that they don't want to have children, then that's their choice. You can't bash a person because they did not have kids. Sometimes people just are not fertile and something is wrong with them and they just cannot have kids, and they tried so many times and they just said, you know what, it's not working, so maybe that's just not made for that person. You know what I mean? So some people are not fertile, and that's just how life is. Not everybody was born perfect, right? But not because you are not fertile doesn't mean that you should look down on yourself and say, oh, I am a nobody to this world. There's more to life than having kids. There's so many other things that you can indulge in than childbearing. You know what I mean? Imagine a lot of people who have kids and they died during childbirth. Imagine a lot of people there got paralyzed during childbirth. Like, there's a lot of implication that comes with even having kids. And if you feel like you don't want kids, that's perfectly fine. You have the option, it's your life, and you get to choose how you want to live your life. And if that's what you want to do, then you do that. You have options. Today, if you're not able to have kids, you can always adopt. If you want to adopt a child from they were a young baby, you can do that. If you want to adopt a teenager, you can do that. If you want to adopt a young child, you can do that. So it's not like life is ending. You know what I mean? People are always going to have an opinion. Whether you have kids or not, they're going to be talking. So live your life the way how you feel like you should live your life. If you feel like a life without kids is for you, because some people, they don't want to have the burden of having a kid as their handbag everywhere they're going. They're going on vacation, they have to try to find a way how to get the kids this, get the kids that, get a babysitter, or maybe they have to bring them with them. Not everybody wants that. Some people just want to live single and free and no responsibility. And that's perfectly fine if that is what you're up to. So people can't be bashing other people if they want to make a decision. That's on them, right? Make a decision. You're an adult, you're making your own money, so you can make whatever decision you want. That's it. You know what I mean? Whether you have kids in your 30s, in your 40s, or no kids at all, the only person that gets to define your life is you. Kids don't make you complete. Kids don't make that man stay with you. Kids don't make that woman stay with you. Kids was not made to mend your relationship, and kids were not made for you to feel complete. The only person that can make you feel complete is yourself. And that is it. Take a deep breath, tune out the unnecessary noise, and focus on you. Well, guys, this was a very fun series, and I really enjoy doing these type of videos. And I feel like I will maybe do more videos on these, in the future. But I hope you did enjoy this series with me. I hope you did learn something vital. If you have any comment, maybe I skip out something, you can leave the comment down below. Let's have a discussion in the comment section. And I hope to see you in my next video, and I hope you have a beautiful day, morning, noon, or night. And I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.